take me home tonight. Oh, down beside that red firelight. Oh, you're gonna let it all hang out. Fat bottom girls, you make the rockin' world go round.
Hello and welcome back, fellow nerds and book lovers. This is Ridcully's book review, and today we're going to be going over AI Destroyer by Vaughn Heppner. But before I get into the book, I wanted to take a quick second. For any of the viewers that had seen this video, the previous version of this video, and I needed to apologize really quickly for that video. I had a viewer that had made some comments and really tried to help me, saying some different things on how I could present the videos better, and some things in my videos that weren't well done, and some comments on that they had liked the book, and I tried to use them as an example of that you can totally disagree with any reviewer, of course, and primarily myself as a reviewer, and that's fine. It's good. Sometimes if you can find, I follow a couple of reviewers that I completely disagree with 90% of the time, because I know that if they don't like something, there's a good chance I will like it. So there is something to be learned even from reviewers. You know, if you can find one that's consistent, good or bad, it helps you to find different things to watch and learn. And I kind of wanted to say that it's okay to have different views. It's okay to have different ideas, likes, dislikes, agree with me, disagree with me. But I tried to do it in a tongue-in-cheek, sarcastic way, and I completely failed in that attempt. It came across as snarky and arrogant and condescending, and I looked like a complete asshat the whole video. I'm embarrassed that I even posted it. So if you were one of the viewers that saw it, I apologize about that. That was not my intention to put Rincewind down. Rincewind's given me my most and the best comments so far, and he knows that I was trying to be sarcastic, and it just completely failed at it. And one of the other things I need to touch base on is Rincewind had also pointed out in the previous video that I had tried to establish a rating system of 1 through 5 Pratchett's or 1 through 5 Johnsons/Jordans, and that was convoluted and dumb. Thank you, Rincewind. It was convoluted and dumb. Looking back on it, I can't even figure it out. I'm the one that tried to make it up. I'm going to do a rating system for my books. It's just 1 through 10. 1 being a Ryan Johnson, Robert Jordan horrible book that sucks you in and then tricks you, and something that you end up with a visceral hatred because you had started out loving it, and then it had slowly gotten worse, and by the time you realized it was a horrible book, you'd already invested hours of your life into it. Or 10 being something along the lines of, Terry Pratchett and Night Watch, or Ernest Cline and Ready Player One. Phenomenal books that you can read once or twice a year and never get tired of them. So I wanted to apologize, wanted to make that statement real quick. But that aside, let's go ahead and get into the review. AI Destroyer is not a good book. Audible has a turn-in policy that if you don't like the books, you can turn them back in to get your credit back. And because of that policy, when it suggests books, I don't research them as much as I probably should. I just grab them and try them, knowing that I can turn them back in. And that's been kind of biting me in the butt lately, and this is one of the books that definitely bit me in the butt. I did not like the book. I thought it had a dumb plot. I thought it had a weak story. I thought it had just one convenience after another through the entire book. I thought that the characters were a little old and tired and cliche. The main character, John, wakes up in cryo-freeze. I mean, to me, it was instantly a complete ripoff of Halo, which is fine if you got a good story behind it. And then the story of the book turns out that the AI, either an alien AI or this AI has became sentient. I wasn't able to get through more than a couple hours of the book before I had to quit. So I'm not sure where the story goes. But apparently the AI is taking over the ship, and therefore the title AI Destroyer. In the previous review, I had said these things. I didn't like it. Didn't like story, characters, plot, the conveniences. And then Rincewind, my friend, had went and downloaded the book and contacted me and says that he thought it was pretty good. Which is what I was trying to say in the other video. Is that's fine. That's good. Nobody will agree with any. Well, I shouldn't say nobody. It'll be very rare and probably questionable if there's somebody that you agree with all the time, 100% of the time. No two people are alike, no two people's preferences and likes, and then we all seem to have guilty pleasures. Things that we know aren't that good, but yet we really enjoy them anyway. Whether it be food, videos, books, anything. So, and those aren't going to match up with anybody. And that's fine, and that's good. If we were all the same, it would be a horrible, horrible world. It's much better with the diversity and the differences that we have. But this book, it just didn't speak to me. From here on out, I'm going to do some of the spoilers, go into some of the details. I mentioned previously that John wakes up in cryo-freeze. And instantly, the door opens and there's a man in a dress uniform. The way it describes it is pretty well, he's a Nazi. The dark, the flashy, and John says that he knows that this is a man that likes to hurt people. Doesn't show that the guy likes to hurt people. Couldn't possibly be somebody in disguise in the uniform. He just knows. That's weak writing. I hate that. That no character, unless they're clairvoyant, would just be able to look at something and know. But to move the story along and to not have to do any of the work in the story, the author Heppner just says John knows that he's a bad person. Which I guess it makes it easier for everybody because you know that this is a bad character, from the get-go. And he's got a gun on John, and he's saying, you're the one that's done all this, and John doesn't have any of his memories. Like, what are you talking about? And they have altercations. And while John's trying to figure out what's going on, and while they're having their dialogue, a robot shows up. And the Nazi freaks out and like a little girl and runs around. John's like, what's going on? And the cleaning robot, or the repair robot, is trying to shoot him with apparently some kind of repair laser, but it's not working. First convenience, the robot that, if it was working fine, would have been dead, the book would have been over. So it starts out with a convenience. You can have a few of them. You almost have to have a few of them for most stories. But this one just came so fast, and then they just continued after this. The robot charges him, tries to run him over. Its laser isn't working, so it's apparently going to smash him. And John sidesteps it, and then it falls over, and that's another convenience right on top of the laser. Now the robot's immobilized for a moment. There's some more dialogue. There's some more information passed on. And the robot gets back up and attacks him again. And they're trying to get away, and the robot, it was like a Monty Python scene is the way I pictured it. He's describing how the robot is so fast in one part that he can barely, he's catching up with him. And then the next part, they're trying to get through a door and the robot's coming. It's kind of like, I just picture this robot when he looks back is at the end of the corridor coming at him, catching up, and then he's trying the door and he looks back again, and the robot's at the end of the corridor again, kind of come and catch up. Either the robot's so fast it's going to catch up with you, or you can get ahead of it and get the door open. To say both things, bad writing. It's a bad scene setup. It was annoying. Didn't like it. The robot finally does catch the Nazi guy and has got his head in a clamp, and John has taken the gun from the Nazi. And he said, once again, John says, I'm not going to shoot this robot because I know this gun isn't going to hurt it. Well, the robot's about to squish the Nazi's head and just splatter it all over the walls. So John takes a shot at the optical part of the robot, and the robot drops the Nazi and acts like it's some kind of physical animal, like it's surprised and in pain and shocked, which could be something programmed in the AI. I don't know, but for a robot to act like that was weird. If it explains it later on, cool. Don't really care. I'm not going to read to find out. But as what was irritating is he hadn't been shooting at this robot that had been chasing with the gun that he had because he knew it wouldn't hurt it. And then he finally gets frustrated and shoots it, and it does hurt it. It does stop it. It does have an effect. So apparently, maybe John knows these things and he's just an idiot, which creates an unlikable character for me anyway. It's either bad writing or he's purposely creating an unlikable character or a dumb character that's arrogant and assumes things. I don't know which. Either way, it just didn't work. A soldier sneaks up on him in a 1,500-pound suit of mech armor. Don't know how that happened, but it's just another given, another convenience. And there's this female soldier inside that's working for the Nazis. And the Nazi says, "Shoot this guy." And she's like, "No, we're the last people alive. We all need each other." And the Nazis, throws a fit and pouts and screams and yells and whines. Fairly consistent. But then they move on in the story, and there's been battles with other robots and other soldiers, and there's guns everywhere. And the Nazi gets a gun, and he doesn't shoot John. He was saying to shoot John before, now he has a gun, he can do it, and he doesn't do it. It's irritating. There was another part in the book that the Nazi had been hurt, and so John takes him and goes to stuff him in a med lab. The Nazi's like, "You stop being an idiot. This is an AI-controlled med lab. Don't put me in there. The ship will kill me." And John wants him healed, so he puts him in it and says, "I'll watch you." So John's an idiot. This med lab can't just overdose him on morphine. I'm assuming whatever drugs they have in the future are even more powerful, and if the computer controls it, whatever. The convenience is that the AI isn't controlling this particular med lab. It's independent of the AI of the ship. So the Nazi comes out and he's fine. John was stupid. The Nazi was right. Why would your hero do that? Now, if he gave him a reason to, it'd be fine. I want to know if I can use these med labs and I'm going to test it on you. Perfect. Give a reason to say, I want to help you, so I'm going to stick you in a med lab that there's a 99% chance is going to kill you. It was irritating. They finally make it to the captain of the ship, and the captain of the ship is there dying. Surrounded in the room on the bridge. There's been a huge battle. There's guns. There's body armor everywhere. And John sneaks over and picks up another pistol. And once again, I'm like, the Nazi guy's got a pistol. He wanted to shoot John just a minute ago. Why isn't he shooting him now? John's now got a pistol. Why doesn't he shoot the Nazi guy that obviously wants to kill him? They just put all that aside. I mean, it happens in movies and books, but it happens in bad movies and bad books and bad stories. It was just irritating. And then the captain's there dying on the bridge, and the soldier in the armor apparently had been there and had left her dying there instead of taking her to a med lab. The story just does not make sense. It's a bad story. The whole story is built upon conveniences. The characters will do something smart and then turn around and do something stupid to move the plot along. I found it, I couldn't do it. This, I wouldn't give a 1 because it wasn't good enough to trick me into reading the whole book before I realized I hated it. It was just consistently bad from the start. So, I mean, that's not as impressive for badness in my mind. So I'd give it a 3. You know, I hated it, but it isn't the visceral hatred of the last couple of books in the Jordan series that Jordan wrote, or the Last Jedi type writing. So I'd give it a 3 stars. So if you have any different opinions, please let me know. If I make fun of you and try and troll you, it's not real. I'm trying to be facetious. I'm trying to be sarcastic, and it's not coming across well. And like Rincewind, you know, send me a note saying stop being an ass, and I'll go back and I'll edit the video. I'll apologize for it. I don't want to offend anybody. Well, that's not true. I don't want to offend most people on purpose. There are a few people that are going to just irritate me so much, I'm going to want to offend them. You know, that's just the way it is. But please let me know if there's things that you disagree with. Please let me know if there's things that you do agree with, if you have a different take on the book. Like I said, Rincewind, he liked it, you know, and his opinion's probably more valid than mine. So let me know what you think. I do want to leave you with a thought for the day. I wanted to go down and donate blood, but they ask way too many personal questions, like whose blood is this and where did it come from, Vlad?